Hey, this is James Arthur Ray, the author of the New York Times bestseller, Harmonic Wealth. I want to start off today's session with a big, bold question. You ready? Every single thing you want, you already have. I can hear the wheels spinning. You might be saying, James, there's no way. There's a lot of things I want that I don't have. Really? Well, what is it that you really want? And you might begin to tell me, well, I want to make more money. I want a better job. I want to be more healthy and fit. I want this bright new car. I want that brand new house. I want a new relationship. The list is endless. You see, our wants are pretty endless, aren't they? Have you ever noticed that? And yet, I'm going to submit to you that all those things are not what you really want. And they're certainly not what you need. Now, let me break this down. What we need in our lives is we need transportation, for instance. What we want is we want a Mercedes. Now, do you need that car? No. You can take a bus. You can walk. You can ride a bike. Well, James, I don't want to do those things. Exactly. But you don't need that new car. What we need is we need food and shelter. What we want is we want a palatial mansion and a five-star restaurant. Do you really need a palatial mansion and a five-star restaurant? Well, of course not. What you need is food and shelter. Do you get the difference? You see, one of the big problems that I find in today's world, particularly in Western culture, and now it's moving rampant around the world as well because we've so heavily influenced the rest of the world, is that we get our wants and our needs confused. We think we need to have certain things that we really don't need at all. You see, what we really need is, in 99% of the cases, way less than what we think we need. You with me? Now, why is this important? It's important because it causes us to live less than fulfilling lives. It causes us to be not fully engaged. It causes us to compare and compete with others around us and to judge our worth by external measures versus internal measures. And that's not a happy place to live. It's certainly not joyful. So, first and foremost, what I'm going to encourage you to do is to make the distinction between what you think you want and what you need. Now, it goes a step beyond that because I'm going to submit to you that what you think you want is not even what you want either. Am I confusing you? Does this sound like a riddle? Let me break it down. You see, we think we want some type of external acquisition and achievement. But I'm going to suggest to you and guarantee you that what we really want is an internal realization, not an external acquisition. Let's go back to the house and the car for just a moment because those are common, or more money. You know, we think that if we make a certain amount of money, it's going to give us something or make us something different. You see, when I do personal mentoring with individuals, if I were mentoring you right now, which in fact I am sort of via this video, I would ask you what you want. And then when you make your list, I begin to ask you two questions. And you might want to write these down. For what purpose? And number two, what will that give you? So let's say you want a Mercedes. All right. I would say, for what purpose? And you would say, well, because I really like that car. And when you get that, what will that give you? Well, it'll give me, reliable transportation. And when you get that, what will that give you? And I'd keep asking you, what will that give you and for what purpose? And invariably, and I guarantee you, I've done this with hundreds of thousands of people around the world, invariably what we come to is an internal realization. Well, I really want to feel accomplished. Okay. Now what we have is a value. I'm not going to get into values, personal values here today. We'll do that in a different session. But you see, we make every decision every moment of every day based upon our values, and yet very few of us, and if you're not highly unusual, you can't articulate to me what your values are, and yet you make every decision every moment of every day based upon these internal values. And these internal values are things that we feel, and we get confused because we've been conditioned in our world to supplement, or to replace, I should say, meaning with money and materialism. We get wired that if we acquire this certain thing, it will make us feel a certain way. And it might for a little while. Have you ever had this experience? You get that brand new car and you feel really accomplished and you feel really excited and it feels real thrilling to drive it for a while. Notice how those are all feelings? But then at some point in time it switches, doesn't it? And that fancy car becomes a heavy car payment and a lot of insurance. And it doesn't get you to point A, from point A to point B any differently than your previous car. Or you want that brand new house, and boy, for a while it's exciting, you're putting new furniture in and you're feeling thrilled and you're feeling alive and you're feeling accomplished, and then at some point in time it switches, doesn't it? And it becomes a hefty mortgage and a lot of expenditures. Have you had that experience? I certainly have. You see, what we think we want is not what we really want. And when we get ourselves wired the wrong way, which we've done in so many ways in personal development and in Western culture, is that we think we have to acquire. And when we acquire, we will become something different. Not true. Oh yes, we might become a bigger, better, more risk-averse, bolder, action-centered individual as we chase these external acquisitions, and those are all good things. But see, those are things that come inside. Have you ever accomplished something really, really great in your life? And once you get to the top of that mountain, it's not the peak. It's the process that got you there. It's the experience. You see, life is meant for living, and it's the experience of life that brings the juice. When we can start to separate needs from wants. Because you see, what you need is very, very, very less, much less than what you think you want. And now, if you're following along, what you used to think you want, you realize is not even what you really want. So let me come back to the original premise. Every single thing you want, you already have. Joy, fulfillment, engagement, excitement, inspiration, meaning, impact, contribution. How do you have those things? Because I submit to you that you have them right now. You want to feel love? Then give love, and you will automatically feel love. You want to feel contribution? Then contribute to someone, and you'll automatically feel that. You want to feel a sense of importance? Then make yourself important. You see, in this way, we become self-realized. We become self-reliant versus dependent on external measurements. We become self-referential versus referring ourselves, comparing and competing ourselves against the world. Every single thing you want, you already have. Are you going to unleash it? The choice is yours. Hope I've made you think. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening. Until we speak again, stay awake, love life, and be epic.